I have a tire interference issue. This is a T-Rex racing skid plate. It's one of the better ones out there. It's frame mounted and it protects everything. The only other frame mounted one that I could find was a Rally Raid, and that doesn't protect the head pipes. The Rally Raid also doesn't allow you to run a center stand, but this one does. All the other skid plates out there are mounted really flimsily, and they're mounted to like the engine case bolts, which is not a good place to mount it. This is a skid plate. Those engine mounted ones, that's more of a debris deflector. I've had the bike sitting on this and it's fine. So this is a T-Rex racing skid plate, like I said, and they don't even sell this version anymore. Their newer version has another plate that goes up from here and kind of tucks in behind the radiator. And I asked them, hey, is that a revision from this version to, to take care of this tire rub? And they said, well, no, it's the same but taller. It won't change the fact that the tire's rubbing. It's like, well, okay, I like this, so I'm just going to modify it to work. So what I'm going to do is just go from this weld down to here and then back up to cut out some material up top here so the tire doesn't hit. Now, it hasn't been a huge deal, but when I'm braking really hard or when I mostly compress the suspension from a jump or something, it does rub. I can just brake hard like I did in the video and it rubs, which didn't worry me at first, but now I'm thinking, okay, if the tire's up against here and I need to turn the handlebars, I'm not going to be able to because it's up against this. So I'm just going to get my circle template out, draw some lines on here, and cut it. So here's what I came up with. Initially I centered it in the middle of here, but then I realized, well, this is not centered on the bike. This is where the actual center line is. It's a lot closer to this side. So I just put a hole in here. It's 7/8 of an inch because I have a step bit that size to make a nice radius. And then what I'll do is I'll drill like a 1/4 inch hole, maybe if I can fit it. Otherwise like an 1/8 inch hole here and here just to make nice radiused corners, and then cut on those lines and remove this section. And then I'll probably round this over with an angle grinder or hand file maybe. Just kind of file a nice rounded edge on all of this, or a chamfered edge, so it's not sharp. So here it is. It's not perfectly symmetrical. I ended up taking that punched hole out of this side and not that side because the cut is centered. It's not perfectly symmetrical skid plate. So when I get on this and the suspension compresses, it's gonna throw a little bit more rock at the one head pipe than it did before, but I'm not really worried about it because of the angle it's throwing stuff. It's not going to do any real damage. The wiring loom and the oil filter are still protected really well, and short of just completely rebuilding this, there's really not a different way to go about it. I really don't want to get the Rally Raid one because I like my center stand and I like having the head pipes, at least partially protected. So I'm sticking with this. That's why I went with the notch. And I can't really cut and re-weld and move stuff around because it's got this door in it without, completely redoing it. So that's the easiest way to fix it, just by cutting that notch in there. So I didn't want to have to do that, but whatever. Nothing's perfect, but I went and bought a lot of stuff for this bike instead of building it because I was hoping other people's R&D was thorough and they made the expensive mistakes and they had a finished product, but it's not exactly that way. So, I was going to say if you rode street, this would be fine, but if you rode street, you wouldn't need one of these. So I'm kind of disappointed in it for that. And just like I'm disappointed in this rack that, it says it'd hold 18 pounds and it wouldn't hold, 16. So I had to fix that. So that kind of stuff frustrates me and disappoints me, but I do know enough to fix it myself. So they got most of the way there and then I just had to finish it. So maybe one day I'll build a custom skid plate, but for now that notch will work. So little disappointments in life, but nothing to get hung up on.